what's on EU today? The person is asking about the 50-200 crossing. I think I saw something like that on H1 instead. I saw something like that on H1 instead. Can you try and switch to H1 so that we can see this 50 and the 200 crossing? But I know that 200, 800 cross on M15 is actually the 50-200 cross on H1. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's simple maths. So this crossover here shows me that the dealer is no longer coming back there, because the 50-200 cross, in simplicity, it means that the peak has been logged. The peak has been logged. So we are no longer coming again here. And number two, it shows me that either we are on level 1 or we are on level 2. But in this case, for me, we are simple at the first level. We are simple at the first level. So I cannot expect level 2 because it hasn't appeared yet, especially on H1. So the 50-200 is signaling to me that my peak is already locked. So we are no longer coming back again to this peak. So meaning that if I was continuing with my trade, I can continue with my trade. But then I am expecting a little pullback on M15. I'm expecting a little pullback on M15 with that 200, 800 crossover. I'm expecting a little pullback. Then we can continue going up. We can continue going up. The person is saying, sorry, I meant the 200, 800 on M15. The 200, 800 on M15 is as good as the 50 and 200 on H1. There is no difference. They are the same EMAs. The only difference is in their values. It simply means that M15 has completed its job. So they now have to retrace and then give fuel to H1 so that H1 can continue going up. So meaning that M15, we are expecting a possible reset and then a continuation. That's the reason why I said yesterday, that's why the reason why I said tomorrow, we should still expect another setup again on 200 EMA of EU M15 and then a continuation. I hope that makes sense. Now, someone is asking and saying, what is a safety trade? What is a safety trade? Can we go to M15, please, so that I show them what a safety trade is? Right. This is the safety trade. Why? Because a safety trade comes on the following day of the peak lock. So what it simply means is that, first of all, you have your peak formation, you end the day in consolidation. The following day, you get your safety trade. So meaning that on the previous day, you had a peak lock. So your setup then appears on the following day. That is what we call a safety trade. I hope I have answered your question. That's what's simple a safety trade. I really cannot go deep into these things because if I go deep, we will end up dwelling in one question. So we would want to answer all questions quick. What is the leverage of the account you raised from $10 to 200? all my accounts, they play at 1:2,000 leverage. 1:2,000 leverage. So that if I open even 32 positions on a $10 account, I can sleep $800 on the first day. I hope that makes sense. Right. My next question says, a suggestion. Peak reset is still a problem. In your YouTube about resets, the conditions of peak resets are not described. May you arrange a Zoom meeting for this? All right, your answer, I will arrange a Zoom meeting. I hope I have answered you fairly, because you said it's a suggestion and I should arrange a Zoom meeting for that. So I will arrange a Zoom meeting. Thank you. The next question, 3 times ATR, how do you use it? I don't know what you mean by how do you use it. If you are talking about an indicator called 3 times ATR, the one that, or the 3-level trend one, which paints the 3, or you are talking about 3 times ATR indicator that tells you that 3 times ATR of Euro USD is 117 pips, or you are talking about 3 times ATR, meaning the ATR movement. So I'm not sure what exactly you're talking about, but I'm assuming you are talking about this indicator. I'm assuming you're talking about this indicator. Now, this indicator, the 3 times ATR indicator, in other words, we are simply saying that from the peak formation to level 1 to level 2 into level 3, we are saying that the movement from here up to there, right, it should be at least 200 pips for example, EU. I'm not saying EU is 200 pips, 380R. I'm simply giving an example that, let's say 3 times 80R for EU is 300 pips, is 200 pips. We are saying from here, there, up to there, which is the distance from here up to there, should be at least 200 pips. Then we can say 3 times 80R is 200 pips. So if that indicator will actually write for you 3 times 80R, 200 pips, even before movement. So you know that when you get to 300 pips, that you have gained your 300 pips of 3 times 80R. It can even write for you that 1 times 80R, then it will divide that 200 by 3 to give you the number of pips that should be moved in each day. ADR means average daily range. We are saying the number of pips the dealer is allowed to move in a single day. The number of pips the dealer is allowed to move in a single day, because the dealer cannot move the market to wherever he wants in a single day. He is actually regulated to move a certain number of pips on that particular day. I hope I've answered this one. Now,
Bongeni,
somebody is saying, yes.
Let me add something to that on ADR, maybe make it a much more clear. So guys, to make it much more simple, we know that our cycle, normally it takes about 2.5 to 3 days rise, 2.5 to 3 days of drop, which means that we expect the whole cycle to take this long, and since the average daily range is the maximum permissible range a pair is allowed to move in a particular day, which means in the 3-day cycle, we expect a pair to move 1 times ADR, which means if we have a whole cycle, whole market maker cycle, from there should be 3 times ADR. from there to there, which means each level should be approximately equal to 1 times ADR, 1 times ADR, then 1 times ADR. So each and every level should be at least equal to, approximately equal to 1 times ADR. So that in our 3-day cycle, we are saying that each and every move is 1 times ADR, 1 times ADR, 1 times ADR for the whole 3 days. I hope that makes it much easier.
Yeah, that's really true. That's really true. So that's the reason, that's the way that they actually use to come up with the 3 times ADR. It's actually 1 times ADR by 3. The next question says, how did you use the 1-minute strategy on currency pairs? Unfortunately, I'm not going to answer this one because it's still something under construction. So I can't really talk about it now. I will only talk about it once I have released the bits and pieces of this one. The next one says, can we consider the move on Friday as a half Batman entry that was later completed on Monday? The move on Friday is a half Batman entry that was later completed on a Monday. I'm sure you are talking about this move. I'm sure you're talking about this move. I can't really say this is a half Batman because to me it looks so ugly. To me it looks really, really ugly. I would rather give its name HOT because it looks so ugly to me. I can't really force Mr. Half Batman to appear there because I can't see that half Batman there. I hope that makes sense. So I would rather treat that as an HOD rather than to say it's a half Batman. You know what? Some of these things, yes, they can be half Batmans, WMs, but you shouldn't force a setup when it's not there. If it's not clear, stay away. You can only trade it when it's clear. If it's not clear, stay away. Don't ever force yourself or crack your head. That is why I was telling you that as for me, I don't trade hard. I trade smart. Why? Because I will better wait for the setup to appear for me to enter. I don't want to say it looks like a W, but it isn't a W. Maybe it is. Is it an M? What's happening? Is it coming down? Is it going up? If you have that kind of mentality, then it means you don't even know what you're doing. You rather stay away from the charts and go and learn. I hope that makes sense. Right. Do you have pairs that you say are safe to trade? Do you advise to trade that fake move from Asian session waiting for a setup formation? Right. I'm going to be frank with you. I will never advise you to trade this. I will never advise you to trade this. Better wait for the true trend. Better wait for the true trend because the true trend pays. These breakouts, sometimes they can fool you and you can end up in a loss or rather blow your accounts. That's exactly where people blow accounts or get tripped. So don't trade them. And on your question, you also said the pairs that moves clearly. I don't think there is any pair that moves clearer than any other. These are just interests that people actually come up with depending with which pair they are used to. I mean, I rarely trade Euro USD, but to be honest with you, since last week on Thursday, Euro USD has been throwing in clear and clean setups that even my grandma can actually say, this one is a W, this one is an M. So why shouldn't I follow it? I would rather go with it, follow the pair because the setups, they are so clear. I mean, if I remove if I remove all these arrows, just try and check all these setups. Check all these setups, how clear they are, So I'm trying to say, I can follow the pair day in, day out because it's showing me clear setups. So the best way is you can scan the whole market, find out the direction of the market in general, where pairs are going. Then you go down to at least maybe 5 pairs. You look at those 5 pairs until you get that one pair which you say, I'm expecting something like this from this pair, and you take it. It's not necessarily to say, as for me, I only trade gold. As for me, I only trade NASDAQ. As for me, I only trade what. If you hear someone saying that, it means they have a history with a pair that they are not trading. I'm joking, but anyway, I know it's true. Right. Let's go to the next question. What is this guy saying? How did you know that EU will rise last week after it had tricked many traders a week before? Last week by falling heavy. This is a very hard question. How did I know? I knew with a peak formation. I don't know if I've answered you. I knew with a peak formation. Right. First of all, EU tricked us the previous week to say it has formed a peak formation. And we did eat some good pips from it. But then what it did, it went and pinned the 200 EMA. I remember Arthur spoke about it, saying, talking about the research that happened on EU. And EU, actually on the day where it did a reset, if you check very well, it moved 3 more ADR downwards up until to this new peak that we are seeing today. So when he spoke to me and said, I'm seeing EU resetting, etc., I said, you are right. Yes, EU is more levels. So I then can keep on going down more levels. This is now becoming too much in excess. So I said, come what may come, today is our peak day. We are expecting it to go up. So I knew that they had completed the 3 levels from the reset of the M15. So I had confidence in myself that, no, they can't keep on hitting people. They have to change the direction. And they did change the direction. So it's not a matter of calling the EU guys to find out if they are going to move. It's just a matter of confidence in your analysis. I hope that makes sense. Now, going into the next question, it says, EU was on a previous downtrend and it went down more than 3 levels. What are the conditions for peak formation to be confirmed? In other words, how can we ensure that it is a peak? There are a whole lot of things that you can ensure that this is a peak formation. I am tempted not to answer this question because I believe Arthur actually sent a PDF on peak formations. And I don't think it would be a good idea. We'll actually waste a lot of time trying to explain the same document again. I think the best way, maybe after the meeting, if you ask for the document, I can always forward it. You go and read it. If you fail to understand what he typed on the PDF, then I think you really need serious help. I don't know. Anyway, the next question says, I will be looking at names. I don't want someone who will be typing 10 questions. Please give others a chance. If you type 1 question, that's enough. If I see you typing too many questions, I will ignore your questions so that at least we give others a chance. Sorry, hope I'm not taking everyone back, but can you quickly take me through these terms? MPO bounce, LOD, HOD, half Batman, and all right. MPO, an MPO is the yellow line. This yellow line that is on the TDI there. An MPO bounce is this. what's happening here? The bounce on the MBA line. Now, you also said you want LOD, HOD, half Batman and entry. Unfortunately, there is no half Batman here, but a half Batman looks like this. A half Batman looks like this. If you want an LOD, this is an LOD. On this one, we don't have the LOD is actually the Asian range, so it's not an LOD. What else did you talk about from your question? You said you want half Batman entry. Now, half Batman entry, a half Batman is actually entered here. You can either use a 513 cross or you can look at your TDI. But I know most people in terms of half Batman, they fail to see the TDI. But then maybe you can use this when the price line actually crosses the MBA line. That this price line crossing the MBA line actually happens a minute before the 513 cross. So you can actually get a more sniper entry by this MBO and price line crossing before the 513 cross, such that you can even add positions on the 513 cross. I think I've exhausted your question. This one is saying, can you do a quick run and show us what to look for in the chart before you decide to enter the trade? What do you consider when you are scanning the market? Hey, this is too much. All right. Anyway, let's go to H1. I'm going to be brief because you said you want me to be brief. I'm looking for a peak formation. Then I find it here. So after finding the peak formation, I want to know what's going to happen the following day. Let's say the peak formation has moved, like here on this day. Let's say it has moved. And I want to know what's going to happen the next day. So because I know that from peak formation, we expect level 1, we expect level 2, then we expect level 3. I know setups that appear on this zone. I know setups that appear on this zone. I know setups that appear on this one, and I know setups that appear on this one. So my scanning of the market is not exactly like there's something that I'm looking for that I should see. Not really, because I know what should happen here. I just go there, sit and watch and expect it to appear. I don't know if that makes sense. Now, if I tell you that I come and check that this is level 1, so on level 1, I'm expecting ABCD, it might maybe confuse you because not all level 1s, maybe let's say IT50, not all level 1s have IT50. Sometimes in IT50 you can see it here, sometimes you can see it right here. So not all level 1s have IT50s. So you actually need to learn what takes place on level 3, what takes place on level 1, what takes place on level 2, what takes place on level 3. If you have that kind of mind of knowing the things that happen on level 3, level 1, level 2, and level 3, it will become easier for you to know what exactly to look for when you approach the market. When you approach the market. I hope I have exhausted that question. Now, the next question says, you said there are 4 types of trades: peak, ID50, safety trade, and the last reset. How do you trade on resets? Okay, I'm going to give you the easiest one. I'm going to give you the easiest one. You have a pair that has completed its cycle. But on H4, you have a pair that has completed H1. That has completed one level. While on H1, it has done 3 levels. So you know that H4 has to give you level 1 pullback, and then continue to level 2. So what should H1 do? H1 should reset and continue going down. You get the point now? So for me, then this becomes the new peak formation in line with my cycle. It becomes the new peak formation in line with my cycle. That's why I said I'm not going to go very deep on resets because I might end up confusing you. But the simplicity part of resets is that resets are there to continue a previously completed trend. They are there to continue a previously completed trend. However, they are what we call confirmed resets because there is actually a lot of variations when it comes to resets. So a reset in simplicity, just know that it is there to continue a previously completed trend. I hope I made proper sense right there. I hope I made proper sense. Arthur, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. I saw a message of muting, so I wanted to check if you can hear me.
I had to mute everyone else and no
all right.
to unmute.
All right. Now I want to wrap my screen, but my screen is no longer wrapping. What's wrong now? Right. Thank you so much. The next question says, explain TDI, say. Guys, your questions are more or less like you're asking me the whole chapter to explain. So I'll be general. A TDI has levels: mid-level, oversold, extreme oversold, overbought, extreme overbought. Then you have your MPL line. Then you have your price line. That's all I can say about a TDI to try and simplify it. So you find that most setups, they appear at the extremes of the TDI, while the mid-level is for consolidations. The mid-level is for consolidations. You will actually realize that every time when a pair consolidates, the TDI will be on the mid-50 level. Every time when a pair consolidates, the TDI will be on the mid-50 level. But when a pair is actually moving, it will actually move away. Actually, what happens is the movement of the TDI, when we are saying that the TDI is going up, it will actually be moving up, stop at mid-50, pull back, move up, come back to the mid-50, pull back, move up, come back to the mid-50. But from your candles, you'll be actually having an uptrend. You'll be actually having an uptrend. So the pullbacks are the ones that will be pulling you to the mid-50 level. Right. What's your take on NASDAQ? It seems like we have a good peak formation low. I don't know about that one because I didn't analyze it. The only thing I saw about NASDAQ today, I was seeing NASDAQ selling very good since last week. And to me, it's still selling. I haven't seen any peak formation low there. I don't know where you saw the peak formation low. I haven't seen it. It hasn't appeared, the peak formation low. I don't know, Arthur, if you have NASDAQ, maybe you can just show us 2 minutes if you have it. But I didn't see any peak formation low on NASDAQ there. I just saw NASDAQ selling. I just saw NASDAQ selling. So you can see for yourself, NASDAQ is just selling. There is no peak formation low here. There is no peak formation low. You can only say to me that maybe you are expecting a peak formation low. I will agree. But if you are saying that there is a peak formation low, as for me, I can't see it. There isn't any peak formation low. And you can try and enter a buy there. That's when you see that there's no peak formation low. Unfortunately, you would have learned the hard way. So I wouldn't advise you to actually do that. But once the peak formation low appears, we are going to buy together. Please say, is it only EU you trade with this strategy, or it can be used to trade other pairs? Because all our analysis since yesterday has been EU. Please say, throw more light. Okay, guys, I trade 2 days a week and 33 days. If I focus on one pair, I make sure I exhaust that pair. So we are talking about EU because EU is the most simplest so far that I have seen during this week. Next week, you will find me talking maybe about AEU. The following week, you will find me maybe talking about USAR. The next week, maybe it's going to be NASDAQ. You may never know. I don't jump around pairs. I don't jump around so many pairs. If I study a pair, I focus on the pair, I trade the pair, I measure it, collect money, and move away and go to the next pair. That is my policy. I don't want to jump around a lot of pairs because it ends up being confusing. It ends up being confusing. And also, the other thing, the reason why we are concentrating only on EU is because I wouldn't want a scenario